All right, so it is 12:02. So I will go ahead and get started here. So welcome everyone. Welcome to the Post-Professional Doctor of PA Studies overview. My name is Kate Smith. I am an enrollment specialist for the School of Health and Rehabilitation Sciences, which is the school that the DPAS program is housed within. Before we begin, I'd like to ask everyone to please mute your microphones. And if you're comfortable, turn on your camera. It's always nice to see who we are speaking with. And as we go, please feel free to drop any questions in the chat. We'll be answering questions in the second half of the session today. All right. So today we are speaking with Dr. Mary Allias. Dr. Allias, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello. Happy first day of PA week to all of you who are PAs out there, or who maybe, I think we may have a couple aspiring PAs in the audience who are looking to learn more about the program. I have been at the University of Pittsburgh in PA studies for about 10 years now, and I am transitioning into the role of program director for the DPAS program, previously serving as faculty and as the director of didactic ed for a master's program.
Wonderful, thank you. So before we jump into the program, I'm always curious to know, how did you come to work in the field of PA studies, and how did you find your way to the University of Pittsburgh?
Yeah, no, thanks for asking. So I've really always been interested in teaching ever since I was, a newly graduated PA. And so I started, I think, like a lot of people do, by precepting students in my first job that I had. And during my undergrad, I became certified as a paramedic, which I thought was very helpful in becoming a PA. And so when I had graduated from PA school and I was precepting, somebody from a local ambulance service approached me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in teaching in our paramedic program?" And so I did that, and I really enjoyed it. And from there, they said, Pitt is starting this PA program, and we think that might be something that would be great for you. And so I applied, and I've been involved since the pre-accreditation site visit before the MS program started. And so now 10 years later, here I am.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us today. All right, so let's hop into the program here. Would you mind to start by providing us a brief overview of the program?
Yeah, sure. So it's a one-year program, starts in the summer. So it goes summer, fall, spring are the semesters. It is entirely online. So you never have to come to Pittsburgh unless you want to, of course, but there are no in-person immersions. And it's, for the most part, self-paced, with the exception of some deadlines, obviously, that have to be met. We are planning for some synchronous content, infrequently, but enough to kind of keep everybody on track. But I think what's really special about this is that it's designed for working PAs, and it is designed to fit nicely into the lifestyle of somebody who's already working, or to somebody who has just newly graduated with their master's in PA studies or PA science. So, we were really intentional about that design.
Wonderful. So could you talk us through a little bit of how this curriculum integrates into a student's current practice?
Yeah, it's really designed to allow you to use your place of practice to inform your learning, but then also to use what you're learning in the doctoral program to benefit your place of practice, whether that's your colleagues or your patients or systems there. So they're meant to kind of be synergistic in that way.
That's awesome. So what does this program offer to students who are already practicing PAs?
So this gives additional skills to folks. And it helps you to be able to lead and to improve those people that you're serving, whether that be your patients or your colleagues or your health system. And it also gives PAs a terminal degree. Right now the master's degree is required, but we know that having a doctoral degree helps PAs with administrative positions, and a lot of health systems may help them increase in pay range, and makes PAs more competitive for academic jobs, if that's something that they're looking for.
Sure, absolutely. Right, next slide here. Okay, so this doctoral degree is new to the University of Pittsburgh, but it is also new to the field of PA studies. Could you talk to us about what inspired the creation of this doctoral degree?
Sure, absolutely. I want to first say and be very clear that PAs who are trained at the master's level are completely and appropriately trained to treat patients in the clinical setting. That's not what this degree is about. But we know that there are PAs who want leadership roles, who want career advancement, or who just want to do more outside of their typical clinical role. And they're shut out because either they don't have the additional training that we don't have the time to provide in the master's curriculum, which is already really compressed, or they don't have the credentials required, the degree itself. And so we want to support PA leaders who can make positive change. We want to be a support to folks who are out there working, who know that they can do more, who want to do more, and just need a little bit extra training to do that.
Excellent. So could you explain to us the program's focus on practice-based learning and quality improvement?
Yeah, sure. So these are competencies of the profession that are endorsed by what we as PAs know as the 4 orgs, right? The 4 national orgs, and they're really important. And we know that PAs are everywhere. We increase access to care, and we know that we can create new and more efficient ways of providing care to people, reaching certain patient populations, solving problems within our practice. And so we're really looking to create problem solvers and leaders.
That's wonderful. It's very exciting. All right. So what types of skills will a graduate of this program be able to demonstrate when they leave?
Yeah, so we're competency-based. We're going to be a competency-based program. And so some of the skills that students may come away with would be the ability to perform and analyze practice-based improvement activities, to integrate scientific knowledge into their practice environment, to help facilitate the learning of others in an efficient way, whether that be students or colleagues or patients, and also to help recognize and assess biases in the system in which they work.
Wonderful. So how will a doctorate in this field affect a graduate's career potential?
Yeah, so again, this provides just additional skills beyond what we're able to offer, what any master's program is able to offer. There's already a lot of content in that curriculum. And so these additional skills are going to help people improve systems. It's going to make a graduate with this degree more marketable, more valuable to their practice, to their healthcare system, and maybe even to their patients.
Fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about the curriculum. How is this curriculum organized?
Yeah, so this is a sequential curriculum. So each semester builds upon itself. And the ultimate kind of product, the capstone, the final culminating event of this doctoral degree, students will actually start working on that in their very first semester. So our goal is not to have any redundancy and to allow students to use everything that they're working on from the beginning of the program all the way through to their project at the end.
Great. So I see here that there are required transfer credits. What are the required transfer credits?
Yeah, so people who will be applying to this program are going to be certified PAs. And so many of them will already have a master's degree in PA studies, PA science, something like that. Those will all transfer. For folks who have a bachelor's degree as a PA, if they've taken a Master of Medical Science or a Master's of something else that is healthcare related, those are the credits that would transfer to help meet the credit requirement for the doctoral degree at Pitt.
Great. Great. So this program also includes internship experiences. Can you explain how the internship experiences in this program work?
Yeah, I think this is a really valuable part of the curriculum too, because these internships are designed to either be in your current place of practice. So where you're currently working, you can do this internship, or it can be an aspirant internship. So for example, we have somebody who is interested in applying who works a clinical position, but is an adjunct at a local university, and they want to do their project, their internship based on their adjunct work in teaching. Absolutely. Or you can do it currently where you're working. And it is very personalized. We want to help students meet their goals. And so we're willing to work with folks in how the internship is designed. But really, for those who are working full-time clinically, it can be done where you're currently working.
That's exciting. It offers a lot of flexibility to students for the program. So you mentioned that the program kind of aims to help students achieve their personal and scholarly goals. How are students' personal goals and scholarly work furthered by this curriculum?
Yeah. So we're looking at transferable skills. We want to help people build skills that they can use in a variety of settings throughout their career. And so the ability to teach transferable skills in terms of implementation science, improvement, practice-based learning that can be used anywhere is going to be invaluable to these students. And also the ability that we have to be flexible and personalized in the curriculum allows students to meet their goals and to use this degree program to help achieve whatever level of success they would like.
Wonderful. So I see also there is a scholarly practice capstone project in defense. So what is this scholarly practice capstone project, and what's the purpose behind that?
Right. So in a PhD program, you'd probably think of this like a dissertation, right? But this is a completed improvement project and that we start working on from the very beginning. And the idea is to benefit a target population. The student gets to choose that target population. But also too, these projects can then be submitted for career ladders or promotion, or could be used for publication. It also can help with future employment opportunities because you can say, look, this isn't just a degree that I earned. This isn't a rubber stamp on my CV. These are the skills that I've learned. And so students throughout the course of this are building a portfolio of work. They're building an improvement project that they've designed and implemented and analyzed. And so they're really able to show folks the skills that they've learned and what they've actually done, in addition to earning the credential that is helpful.
Excellent. All right, so here we have some courses that are available. Do you have any elaboration that you want to share with us about these courses?
Yeah, I think we get questions from students who are currently in master's programs, or for those of us who are PAs, we remember what didactic year was like in our PA programs. This is a much different curriculum. There are no multiple choice tests that you have to worry about in this curriculum. It is meant to be a lot more flexible. You know, the master's programs were kind of, were held to the limits of what accreditation allows us to do. So there's not a lot of flexibility. We have to teach certain things in medicine. This allows for flexibility, a lot of opportunity for personalization, ability to build a portfolio of what you've done. And another word on the capstone project, which I think is what people tend to have a lot of questions about. We want to make sure that people understand that a joint or group capstone project is absolutely acceptable. In order to really be skillful with practice-based learning and quality improvement and implementation, we have to get out of our silos. We know that problems in the real world are solved through collaboration and research and trial and error. And so we want students to be able to hone those skills now, and so that they can be prepared when they're finished with their degree to go out and make change and have a positive impact and be able to work and collaborate. So for example, if you, enter this program and maybe you work in, emergency medicine in Florida, and maybe there's somebody else in the program who works in emergency medicine in Massachusetts, and you have a similar problem that you're working on in your practice, you could work on that together, and you could have sort of a multi-center trial of that. You get a lot more feedback from folks who have, a little bit of a difference in background. And so the ability to complete the capstone, certainly if you want to do an individual one, you can, but the ability to complete it as part of a 2-person team or even a small group, I think is really unique and provides a great opportunity that will help build skills and hone skills that students can use after graduation.
Wonderful. Okay, so let's discuss the costs of this program and maybe what financial resources are available to prospective students who want to take this on.
Yeah, I would encourage anybody who's considering applying to look into what tuition assistance might be offered at your current institution or place of practice. Oftentimes there is tuition reimbursement or assistance that's offered as part of the benefits package, and it's not often something that people take advantage of a lot. So that might be available to you. We're really also happy to be able to offer a flat rate tuition because that makes things a lot more affordable as opposed to paying by credit. And we are very aware of the high credit numbers that PAs graduate with from their master's degree and the expensive tuition and sometimes debt that people have that they've incurred through their master's training. And we don't want to add to that. And so we've done our best to make the program affordable, to allow people to use tuition benefit for it and to be flat rate.
Wonderful. So let's shift directions here and a bit. And could you describe to us the type of applicant that you would like to see applying for the program? Who's a good fit?
Yeah, I would say anybody who wants to make an impact and be a leader, someone who embraces a growth mindset and wants to really join a community of learners, because that's what we're trying to create with this.
Awesome. And briefly, what do applicants need to have prepared in order to apply?
So if they've graduated from an ARC PA program, and if they're a practicing PA, they're well on their way to being qualified to apply. So master's degree either in a PA field or a health related field, so we can get the transfer credits in. The university requires an overall GPA of at least a 3.0, and that's all coursework kind of cumulatively. And then a couple letters of recommendation. And then the personal statement, there are a few questions that we ask applicants to answer brief answers to, but we want people to start thinking about how this program is going to help meet your goals, and maybe what improvement project you'd like to start working on. And we certainly don't hold you to that when you apply, but we just kind of want to get people in the mindset of what might they want to do, and then how do they want to help personalize this curriculum to meet their goals. And unlike a lot of master's programs, there's no interview. Interview is not required. But we're certainly happy to talk to people who are interested and have questions, but an interview isn't required.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Well, I will go ahead and open up for questions here. If anybody in the audience has any questions, feel free to just unmute and ask away, or drop them in the chat and I can read them out for us.
And I would also like to introduce, if I could, Dr. Emily Murphy, who is on the call. Dr. Murphy will be faculty in the program, and she is here to help answer questions as well. We're really excited about the opportunity to create that collaborative learning and have, a community of people who are looking to solve problems together. So I see a question in the chat. I think, Kate, do you see that?
I sure do. We've got a question from Katie. She asks, what will the coursework look like outside of the capstone?
So the coursework outside, some of the coursework will actually build towards the capstone. So you'll start doing kind of your literature review pretty early on. There will be some readings, some smaller writing assignments, group work here and there as necessary and as you wish to kind of meet with other folks. It will be offered online. And so Pitt's Office of Online Learning and their instructional design team has been wonderful in working with us to make sure that it's as interactive as it can be for an online course, so that you can engage with the content. But that's kind of basically the overview. So some writing assignments, some lectures, understanding that we are looking to avoid busy work and redundancy. We very much want everything that you do to be impactful and helpful to you.
And just to add to that, you'll be assigned a faculty advisor, just as you probably were in your master's program. I know we do that at Pitt. And that person will sort of work with you on your project and sort of follow you through your coursework as well. And so that's something else to just keep in mind, that although this is an online program and there will be some in-person meeting, but you will be assigned to a faculty member who, you will be able to sort of contact as much as you would need to as you work through the process.
Fantastic. We've got another question from the chat. Can a PA claim CME for the coursework?
Yes, that is in our plans. So our goal is to make that a reality, because if you're putting in this much time, you shouldn't also have to do your CME that cycle. So that's something we're currently working towards.
How many people are you looking to enroll or accept into the program, and kind of when would the applications open and when would you know about your status?
Mm-hmm. So you can apply now, and I think Kate and Nicole can help get you that link and that information if we can put that in the chat. So applications are open now. All program requirements have to be completed by March in terms of application requirements. And once you apply, we typically will respond within 2 to 4 weeks. It's been closer to 1 to 2 weeks at this point. We certainly don't want to keep people waiting. And, we're looking to take potentially around 45 people for the first cohort. We want to, keep it reasonable and so that you can all network too. And that's a huge part of this. Like, we want you to all be able to not necessarily network to help your careers, though it might, but also to kind of network solutions to the problems that you're dealing with.
I just had a quick question. So I'm actually a PA who just graduated from PA school and just got certified last month. So I figured maybe it's a little too early to be thinking about something like this, but I was just wondering, what is kind of like the average amount of experience that you guys want a PA to have before applying to your program?
Well, first of all, congratulations on graduating and being certified.
Thank you.
That is no small accomplishment. And happy
I'm
first
excited.
real PA week to you. So that's very exciting. No, I think really, so at Pitt, our program, our master's program is a little off cycle. Like, our students graduate in December, and they could very easily apply and jump into this in May. And so part of that personalization aspect of it, you're going to start working and you're already going to be in a position where you can make an impact in your practice. It might not feel like it as a new grad at first, but I promise you will. And so this will give you a lot of skills in addition to the great, clinical medical skills you've already developed. This is going to, help you, become better known in your practice. You'll be able to make positive change. And I think the nice thing is you're still in close proximity to being a student, so you haven't entirely lost that mindset. I recently had nearly a 20-year gap from the time that I graduated, went back for my doctoral degree. That was a little bit of a leap. So you'll be a little bit closer to that. So I think that it actually will help you. And we can certainly, work with that and be flexible. And we understand that people are at different points in their career. Somebody may change jobs in the midst of this, but we can work with that. So I wouldn't let that deter you. We're certainly open to helping with that.
Thank you so much.
I agree with that as well. And sometimes when you join a practice as a new graduate, you have such a fresh look at the practice that you may actually be able to identify something that maybe needs some work, right, to use as your project, and be able to bring that as a new graduate while you're still sort of ramping up your patient load and things like that, that you might be able to sort of have an effect on those things that maybe somebody who's been in that practice for a long time doesn't see or doesn't have the time to work on. And again, just touching back on that group project, we certainly don't want people to feel siloed, that they're all in this all alone. And so, you may be able to work on a project with somebody else, maybe even in a different practice or health system, or, be able to sort of have a more positive and more meaningful impact on a bigger group of patients or people or staff or colleagues or anything like that. And so I think, there's definitely good sides to being a new graduate, and also somebody who has experience and sort of working through this degree and being able to network with people and kind of move the profession forward that way. So, and congratulations.
Thanks.
All right, we've got a few more questions in the chat here.
Sure.
Would you all mind to speak more towards the internship? Would it be an administrative work? And if you're already working as a clinical and administrative PA, would this experience count towards the internship?
Yeah, it can be either. So if you have an administrative role as part of what you do as a PA, you could use that role to fulfill the internship requirements. So what that will be, or if you're working clinically, you can also use it. So it may be like for the first semester in your internship, we might have an assignment that talks about organizational structure, right? Or strategic planning, or, something along those lines that you'd be like, look at the organization that you're currently working in and what potential, challenges or barriers or successes exist in that setting, right? And what does improvement look like, and what steps will be necessary? So it can absolutely be with your clinical work, with your administrative work. We've had, it could be service oriented. Maybe you want to do something completely separate and you want to do a service project, or, you're hoping to move into a different role. And so you want to do an aspirant internship. But it absolutely can be exactly with what you're doing now. And so you would do the work that you're doing, and then the assignments and the course content would augment that, and you would use that sort of as your sandbox to help get your work done. The goal is not to create additional responsibilities for you outside of your full-time job.
Awesome. So do you all have any examples of capstone ideas?
Yeah, I'm going to give a couple, and I don't know, Dr. Murphy, you might want to think of some too. If you can think of, I'm trying to think of all the different roles people are in. So in terms of a clinical capstone, it may be something like, you're having a hard time getting follow up for a specific test or cancer screening, or communication. Maybe there's a problem in the practice that there's not a lot of time to communicate with folks about diet and lifestyle changes for hypertension or for diabetes. So those could all be clinical things, and you could, develop an education plan that's either a recorded module or a class that you do and study the impact of that, right? If you're doing an administrative role or an educational role, you could look at, for somebody who's interested in getting involved in education, I want to, improve the way that I lecture, or I want to learn how to create educational objectives and create a lecture and study the impact of that on the students' learning when I look at their tests. I don't know, Dr. Murphy, did I cover all the bases? Is there anything else?
Yeah, we've had people talk about wanting to improve processes for their patients, right? Maybe you work in pre-op or something like that, and time to the OR is, too long. And so you try to figure out some way to make that, more beneficial for the patients and getting them ready, sooner and where they need to be. An example for Dr. Allias and I, our dissertation was developing orientation modules for our instructional faculty who come into our program and guest lecture for our students. And how do we get them the information that maybe they were not able to learn about, in the MS program? And so, a wide variety of options. Again, we are not trying to create more work. We absolutely want this to be something that you can do that is meaningful in your place of practice, that is something, that you see a problem with and that you want to change anyway. And so why not use this program to kind of move that forward and be able to make that change?
And the options are really limitless. I mean, this is whatever you create it to be, and you'll work with your advisor, and you'll work with your committee, and you'll work with your team if you're doing a joint or a group project to make it suit your needs. And so there really is a lot of room for creativity and great improvement.
Right. Any more questions? So I'll go ahead and switch over this screen here so that everybody has this information. So this is our email specifically for the DPAS program. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to us, send us those questions, and we'll make sure they get to the proper person. Before we wrap up, Dr. Allias and Dr. Murphy, do you all have anything that you want to add that we need to know about the DPAS program?
I'm just really excited for this because I know that PAs do good work. We do good work clinically. We're in the trenches. We're doing the work. It's time for us to start leading in more areas and to improve the practices that we're in. We are everywhere. We increase access to care. We work well with other professions already. We need to step up and lead and advocate and move the profession forward. And we really look forward to helping people develop those skills in a welcoming, supportive community of learners. And that's our goal with this program. So certainly do reach out if you have any specific questions or individual questions. We're happy to answer those. That email inquiry will get routed directly to us, and we'll be able to talk. But if you have individual questions, we're certainly happy to field those as well.
I just wanted to echo those sentiments and also just thank everybody for being on the call today. Let us know if there's anything else we can do or any questions. We're, like she said, happy to have, individual calls or meetings just to discuss things further for you. And, certainly we're excited. So we're hoping to enroll some excited students and hopefully maybe see some of you in May.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Allias and Dr. Murphy, for joining us today and answering our questions. I'll go ahead and end the call for us. Have a great day, everyone.